Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Balance, where we weekly talk about the importance of balancing our body, mind, spirit, and community. I'm John, and today we're celebrating that we've had 25 episodes of Balanced. Welcome. Welcome in, everyone, to today's Balanced episode. Today's episode is going to be different, and it is our 26th episode. It's crazy to think since November we've recorded that many episodes, had 25 weeks of episodes, and we're going to look back on some of those and the most popular, most viewed episodes and just take a glimpse at what we have learned, what we have enjoyed from our guests that we've had in all these 25 episodes. We do our episodes in series, and every series has 4 parts based on the point that we're trying to achieve in our balance, and that's in our body, our mind, our spirit, and community. So we're going to take a moment here to look back at clips from the most popular viewed episodes of Body, Mind, Spirit, and Community. So first, let's jump into looking back at a clip from February 3rd. In that body episode, Coach Jason Golden was sharing with us the importance and value of having people around us as we pursue exercise and diet and just keeping our body in shape. And he called these people our Mount Rushmore people. So take a look at this clip and reflect back on what he shared with us on February 3rd.
I think it all depends, and you said it, at relationships. What's your relationship with that individual? How deep are you with that individual in relationship? And do you trust that person? Because I believe not all relationships are the same, and nor they should be treated that way. So I do feel someone you can connect with, someone that, can push and pull you. There's different kinds, right? So it's a push-pull scenario. You help mentor them, they mentor you. So it's all somebody to keep you accountable, but it's people you got to really, think about, meditate on. And if you pray about it. If who you want accountable in your lives. And it's the 2 a.m. people. If I'm in trouble at 2 a.m., who can I call that will pick up the phone at 2 a.m. and help me? Those are the people you want in that circle of yours.
I really enjoyed that conversation with Coach Jason. Now we want to look at our clip from our best, most viewed Mind episode, and that was actually just one of our first ones, our 3rd episode on November 18th, and it was our Mind episode with one of our counselors here, Grizel Feistamel. And she referred to something that she likes to work with her clients on, and as far as their mind, and that is understanding what she refers to as the gate of thankfulness. So let's take a look back at what she shared with us on November 18th.
I have clients visualize a place of hope. So things that they're hopeful for and they want in their life. And I tell them, after they describe it to me and what it looks like, I'll tell them, okay, now in order to get to that place of hope, you see this gate in front of you, and that's the gate of thankfulness. Can you tell me all the things that you are currently thankful for? And then they tell me a list of things that they're thankful for. And then I'll say, now, do you feel that hope? Do you feel like you're in that place? And a lot of clients say that they feel better. They feel like they're closer to that place of hope because, when you have that negative thought life, you tend to be in a place of despair.
Right.
But when you have a positive thought life, you tend to have more hope.
We're really grateful for all of our staff who have shared with us in many episodes and thankful that they have the chance to share with us their own understanding and experiences and some ways that they work with clients and working with their body and their mind. And now we want to look at a clip from one of our spirit episodes. It's actually one of our most viewed episodes, and it's from February 17th, where we were talking with 2 pastors, Pastor Steve McConnell and Pastor Mike Kennedy, and we were talking about what it feels like and what happens, what's going on when it feels like God is being silent. And Pastor Steve shared with us one lesson he's learned when he's walked through what it feels like for his personal life when God's not listening, that kind of thing is going on. So listen to this clip from February 17th with Pastor Steve McConnell.
I suppose there's tons of things to be. One of the things that comes to my mind is when I'm experiencing to be God's silence, I often learn that God's answering a question different than the one I'm asking. And I keep insisting that this is the question I need answered, and often I need it answered in a certain way. And it's usually not until later when you do look back and you realize I was asking the wrong question. Mm-hmm. And often when I've experienced those periods of silence, it's often been my own sort of defensiveness around not wanting to explore what's going on inside of me. And because I just don't want God to go there. I don't want God to sort of get messing around with my junk. Right. And so I find that, when I do reach those periods of time, it's helpful for me to pause and to wonder, am I asking the question that God's trying to answer here? And
one of my favorite episodes was a community episode that aired at the end of 2020. This aired on December 30th and had another pastor, but also another counselor who talked about what it's going to look like and how we should be thinking moving into 2021. And so looking into that year, both Pastor Ken Blythe and Counselor Dale Thompson share with us some thoughts. And so we want to take a moment and look at this clip where they shared with us some things as we looked into 2021, which is sort of fun to look back on and see where we are. So look at this clip from December 30th, talking about moving into 2021 with Pastor Ken and Counselor Dale Thompson.
Just overall, just how can we not look at 2021 without really a hope of promise of joy and so many new things? We don't know. One thing about COVID is just what the next year is going to bring us. Surely nobody going into 2020 thought we'd have this global pandemic and a crisis that would catastrophically impact us as families, communities, as well as a nation. So our ability to see the positive coming into 2021 is almost hedged a bit in the great ways. But I'll encourage everybody to take a minute and just think about the beauty of what we have in front of us, even with COVID. If it's a rose by the side of the road that you can smell the aroma of, and just remember the blessings that we do have, a warm cooked meal in a crock pot, some family time around the fire, or a bike ride with the kids. Those are the things that provide genuine life, not all this other stuff that maybe we could do without.
That's a good word. It's a good word. Pastor Ken, as Dale was talking, I'm just curious. I didn't ask you to think about this ahead of time, so I'm putting you on the spot here. But do you think there's any scriptural mantra that would help us? I'm sure there's plenty. But what comes to your mind as maybe a scriptural mantra for us as we go into this new year?
The one that I've been focused on, and I'm going to carry into 2021, is that call for the church, and the church not meaning the institutionalized church, but the church meaning that community of believers. Yeah. The call for the church to weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice. And I think that's a balance to be struck. It always has been, and it is now, as it ever was, and ever thus shall be. Because the reality is there are people who've been hurt by COVID. There are people who've lost loved ones. Yeah. There are people who have seen their world shrink in very unhealthy ways. There are people who are now in debt that weren't in debt before, and that list could go on and on. Yeah, and we could add faces and names to that list. Mm-hmm. And I think we do them a disservice if we only focus on the positives, going back to the image you brought up on the screen earlier from Forbes. And yet, we could do damage to ourselves deeply if that was all we focused on. Because I know that when our kids came back from college, my wife and I went for more walks with those kids, watched more movies, engaged in more conversations. I don't know what our kids thought about it, but we loved it. We're right. Afraid to ask them what they thought, but we loved it. And those positives could be described for the next half hour, and we can all add faces and names to those positives. So to find that balance, and as the church, we respect and acknowledge, we hold up that balance, I think, most wonderfully and most awesomely and most faithfully when we weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice.
So that's fun to look back on clips from different episodes as we have walked through 25 episodes and several series looking at our body, mind, spirit, and community. We want to end today's episode by looking at one more clip. And I believe this clip from an episode that aired in December has one of the best reminders for all of us, no matter what area in life we're trying to perceive balance and achieve that. This episode was a community episode with two of our former and current board members here at Samaritan, Brian Hall and Daryl Jordan. So we want to end today's episode by showing you this clip, which is one of the best suggestions we have about pursuing balance in our lives. Check this out.
I do. From the standpoint, I think Scripture gives us the simple answer to this question. We need to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. And just if you can live life like that, or I think things would be more peaceful.
Amen. And the challenge may be at times we don't know how to love ourselves, right? So that's a very good word, Daryl. Any closing word, Brian?
What he said.
What he said.
Yeah.
You got it in there. Good job.
How do you get any better than that? I mean, goodness, what he said.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So before we end today's episode, I want to share with you that for the month of May, we're going to do something a little different. We're not going to have weekly balanced episodes on Wednesdays. Instead, for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is what the month of May is, we're going to focus in on some videos during one particular week. There's a week in May where that week is clarified as Mental Health Awareness Week. So we will have videos daily that week. So we will be promoting those and letting you know when those will be posted during the month of May. So again, thanks for tuning in for all of these episodes, in particular today's episode, as we've enjoyed looking back on our first 25 episodes. We hope these have been helpful to you as you pursue balance in your life. If you are looking for any kind of help along these things in your life, your mind, body, spirit, and community, please reach out to us in our office and help us help you have balance in your life. Have a great afternoon.